Okay, so let's dive into some basics of Excel. Before you start using it, you're going to have to understand some simple basics about it. So first off, this is a worksheet, as you're seeing here in front of us. It's labeled Sheet 1 down here on the tab. Worksheets basically are made up of columns, which are identified by letters and run vertically, and rows, which are identified by numbers and run horizontal. Where these two intersect, that's called a cell. A1 is this cell right here. You can have each of these cells are going to be identified by that A1, which is your cell reference or your cell address, and that's how you identify it. If you have a group of cells, for example, as I'm moving these across the cells here, you notice it goes from A1 here through B4. That's called a range. It's a rectangular group or a group of cells that are all together. That's your range. And a cell range can also go vertically, can go horizontal. Like here is A2 through G2 horizontal. Vertical is going to be A1 through A13. Those two could be cells as well. Okay, so if you notice the pointer in the actual cell, you notice that right now it is a pointer. It's just a simple triangle shaped pointer. If you click on a cell, for example A1, go back to A1, you notice that it changes to a solid white cross or a solid plus sign. That can show you that you've selected that cell. One of the key tools that Excel allows you or gives you the opportunity to do is that you can fill information in that cell range. And you fill information meaning you copy it, you copy the cell contents or completes a series. That's what you're talking about when it talks about fill. So if you notice, the pointer changed from the solid white cross to a dark plus sign. That's your fill handle. So if you put a number in here, you're going to go 1, you're going to go 2, you're going to put in 3. There's a series. Basically, you can see it's starting to follow. It's follow suit, 1, 2, and 3. So if you click on the whole series together, pick up your fill handle and continue to drag it. If you notice, the numbers on the right hand side continue to add. It will continue to build those numbers in series. It will only do this if it's in an actual order. Like if it's months, January, February, March, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excel identifies the order and then it just continues to add to it. And that's actually a very awesome tool to have if you're doing work with a lot of data numbers that you have to repeat and you want to save some time. Okay, so let's clear out that information there, and let's talk about sizing. Your pointer shape will also, or your pointer will also allow you to size the cell. A lot of times data in your cell is going to be too big, it's not going to fit, so it's going to look something like this right here. As you can see, as I'm typing in the information, it just keeps going on. But when you click outside the cell, it actually changes. I'm going to change the format there because it's not allowing me to do something. Okay, so let's clear out that cell there and resize it. Okay, so you can see that the number continues to move on past the cell, and when it's not formatted correctly, you're going to get all those number signs, which is going to tell you that there's a number in there but it doesn't fit in your parameters of that cell, the size of your cell. So what you can do is you can move your pointer or your highlight, your white cross here, and you can move it over to the actual edge of the cell, and you can click on it, and you see it says the width there, 9.14914 and 69 pixels. So you can pick that up and you can move it to widen your row. And as you see there, it fits. You can also do the same thing to make your column wider that way. Widen your row and widen the column this way. So I have them backwards. So another way that you can adjust your size is to basically just double click on it, and it'll actually change your cell to the size to fit that number. Okay, so we looked at how to size, shape, what the cell is, where it is. You got rows, columns, all the basic information. So one thing about Excel is you can enter data as text, numbers, or as a formula. And as you can see, what I was doing is basically just highlight the cell and start putting in whatever data you want. There are some key terms that you need to know before you put in any data. These are labels. Labels are basically text that provide descriptive information for a row or a column. Labels are not considered calculations or are not in calculations. They're just information that you enter in the cell, and they're basically two types of the information outside of the labels, I should say. I should say that the information entered in the cell that are classified two types, that you've got values and formulas. Values are simply numbers used in a calculation or the result of a calculation. And formulas are how you get these values. They are calculations or expressions that are displayed from the result of the calculation. For example, like we could put in student name, that's a label. Or we could do price for a product, tax for the amount that we're going to add to it, or markup. So let's say, for example, the price is $1, and we're going to mark it up. Let's change something here real quick with the currency, and we're going to mark it up 10 cents. And here we want the total. And here we put in a formula, which would be, this is, and we'll dive more in depth into this, but I just want to show you what a formula looks like. You see here, this is a formula. So here's your labels, your values. Here's your calculation, which is also results in a value. So if you notice at the top, you've got a couple of other areas that you could put information in. This is your name bar, which, as you can see, that it's clicked on A1, it's showing you A1. We could change that. Same thing here, it's clicked on B1, it shows B1, C1, C1, same thing, C1. You can see over here in this bar right here, this is your formula bar. See that it's labeled as price, and same thing here, showing your labels. Here's, as you see, the formula bar gives you a value in the formula bar, and your formula in the formula bar, and as you click on it, it shows you the formula. This is your enter button right here. This is where you can insert a function. You could actually hit enter instead of hitting the enter key, or you could cancel an action. Okay, and as you've noticed, if you click on that cell A2, you get a dark line around it. That's where you can activate the cell. That's activating the cell. Same thing here. And because this, if you click in the formula, you notice that it shows you all of the cells are activated, and it shows you where the the formula information is. Now you can hit enter to complete this activation. You can actually hit tab to move on to the next cell, and you can also use the keyboard arrows to move in within the next cell. It's the basic keyboard functions, basic mouse click functions as well. Okay, so you have data in it and you want to get rid of it. It's real simple. You can either click in it and hit delete. You click in it and click in your formula bar and backspace. Same thing when a formula. You go back in and click in your formula bar, click backspace, and it clears it out. That's how you would edit the data. It's real simple. And if you notice, at the bottom down here you see ready. That's showing you that there's ready to put information in that cell. If you put information in there, you enter it, it changes to enter. So you hit enter, right? Set up with currency, so it's showing the $1,012 in currency. So then if you go back and you click in there, in your formula bar, this changed to edit. So just kind of keep a mind of this information down here at the bottom right hand corner. It's kind of telling you what mode you're in. So then you can go back and clear it out. Now you can also, if you have a bunch of data and a bunch of cells, and I'm just going to throw some information in here to show you what it does. Of course, it just keeps copying that with the copy function. You can click clear, and it will delete everything in the cell, or remove just the formatting, contents, comments, or hyperlinks. So you can clear out everything. You clear out your formatting, clear out your comments, you can clear out any of the hyperlinks. So if you hit clear, highlight your cell, hit clear. Notice how it is clearing it from the bottom up. Clear all. If you click on the drop down arrow right there, you can clear all, clear formats, clear your contents, clear your comments, or clear your hyperlinks. So we're going to clear it all. Goes away. So again, that's another time saver. Okay, some key information as far as how Excel recognizes various types of data as labels. Labels are going to be aligned on the left and on the bottom. Values are aligned on right and on the bottom. And alignment can be changed using alignment group on the home tab, which is right up here on alignment. Notice right here, if we put something in A2, a number, click out of it, it's going to be all the way to the right and all the way to the bottom. So it's bottom alignment is what it is. So we can click in there and then we can change it to center. If it'll work for me, center. And then hit. Let's tab to the next one, see if it's. Try that again. Let's see where it is. Okay. So as you click, that is going to be to the top, all the way to the right, or left, sorry, center and right, justified. This is if we make the cell a little wider, we can change it to where it splits it into 3 alignments. It will align it to the top, align it to the middle, or align it all the way to the bottom. When the cell was narrow, it wasn't moving as much. So that's when you have a big cell. If you got a lot of data in that cell, you can move the text. This is going to center. It's going to center your content. It's going to make it justified to the left and justified to the right. You can also indent. Here's your indent alignment, and we'll have to adjust the size of the cell to probably get it to indent. Yeah, you see if we moved it out, it continues to indent. So you have increased indent, and decreased indent. And that's again, if you have a lot of data in those cells, you can move that. Okay, well, there's going to be times when you're working with Excel when you need to select particular cells or rows or columns. And the easiest way to do that is to, up here in the actual, let's for example the row columns. I'm sorry, your rows, the columns here, like the A column. We're going to put a bunch of data in here. In fact, we're just going to copy this data right here. So we're going to copy this data down to A19. See, it copies it. When you put your fill handle, it copies it, bring it down. Real simple. It'll continue to copy that number. Now, so we've got that data all in column A, and I'm wanting to move that. I want to basically align it to the far left. So instead of going through here and doing each individual cell, which could take some time, what you can do is you can click on the actual row up here in A. You click on it, and if you notice, it's highlighted that whole entire row. Now, key with that is when you do this, it will go all the way to pretty much infinity with this. So you have to kind of be careful when you click these rows. It can go on and on and on till the end number, I guess, would be infinity. So, but anyway, you click that, and I want to move all those numbers to the left. So click in the A, click on your indent, align left, and as you can see, it moves all your data over. Again, it's another time saver. So let's go back and move it back to the left. And as you see, it moved the price too. So there, if you want to move that price back to make it indent to or align to the left, click on that cell, click it to the left, and there you go. Now, you can do the same thing with a row. And as you see, again, I'm going to copy that information. What I'm going to do is click on the fill handle, just hit that little box in the right hand corner, and just drag it on down. So now, and this is just information, just used to examples of Excel. Again, so I want to move my row. I want to move my information in my row. So instead of highlighting each individual and doing the same thing before, you click on the number 2. It's going to basically highlight that entire row out to the end of infinity here. So just keep that in mind. And if you notice down here, I moved the slider bar to move the Excel, move the actual worksheet. So click on the row. I'm going to move everything to the left. Boom, it's done. And another way to align stuff is you could highlight all of it. You notice I put the pointer over the cell, moved it to the next 2 cells, and then dragged it all the way down, and I highlighted all my data. And this is the way that you're going to find out you're going to use this tool more often than anything else. You're going to highlight all your data in a range. Here's the range A2 through A2 through C19. Highlight all your data, and let's say we're going to center it all. Click your center. Boom, there it is. It's basically moved everything. And then we're going to go through and highlight all our data again. We're going to go up and clear it, clear all. So these tools are time savers. They're ways to make Excel more productive. If you had a bunch of data across this worksheet, and you wanted to select all your data to do something with it, delete it, change it, whatever, and you wanted to pick everything, you could just click the Select All button, which is right here. You notice between how these two columns, column A and row 1, kind of intersect together. There's a half of a square, like an upside down triangle or upside down pyramid. That's going to be your Select All button. Click it, and it selects everything. You can see here when we were moving the slider bar, which moves the whole worksheet right and left, and the slider bar here up and down. You see that we can take it, and you keep clicking the very far right button, it just keeps on going. Same thing here, you keep clicking the down button, it keeps on going. Now when you move the slider bar, it only moves the the information that's within that slider bar. So you see that it changed. As we got narrow when we did this, then we moved this and it got back wide. It's only what you're able to see on the worksheet. So okay, so there's been a lot of information covered here. Simple information, but there's a lot of it. So I'm going to stop here and let you take a look and work with Excel and get a grasp of it, and then continue on with the more basics in part 2.